And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows.
Shalom, and welcome to Matthew 24 News, where we cover biblical prophecy in your headlines. And in today's headlines, we have Joel chapter 3, verse 9. It states, Proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles, prepare for war. Wake up, the mighty men. Tell all the men of war to draw near, tell them to come up. And first up to bat is North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, who abruptly appears after 36 days out of the spotlight to inform his country to prepare for war. To mark the 75th anniversary of the Republic, they held a parade featuring what experts say was possibly a new solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missile that most likely will be tested within coming months. Around a dozen ICBMs were displayed during Wednesday night's parade in the capital of Pyongyang. It is an unprecedented number that underscores how Kim continues to expand his military capabilities despite limited resources. Joel 3:10 states, Beat your plowshares into swords, your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say I am strong. He can't feed his citizens, but he can make nuclear weapons. And now more from your prophecy. Matthew 24:6 states, There will be wars and rumors of wars, which brings us to leaked memo from United States Air Force General Mike Minahan, who states that the U.S. and China would be in war with each other in 2 years, and he is telling his officers to get ready. I hope I'm wrong, he wrote in the leaked memo, but my gut tells me that we will fight. While political analyst and retired United States General Jack Keane warned on Monday that the United States military is underprepared for war with China. Let's take a look.
We are not as prepared as we should be. We do not have an effective military deterrence in the region. China has more ships, more planes, and more missiles than the United States has, to include our allies wrapped into that. And secondly, we know for a fact that Taiwan is not as prepared as it should be. And we face that reality dealing with Ukraine and Russia, and we should not repeat that mistake.
Mr. King, it's been written, just like our next headline prophecy, where Russian President Vladimir Putin states in a speech to commemorate Russia's victory over Nazi Germany that those who expect to defeat Russia on the battlefield does not understand that a modern war with Russia would be very different, and that he would not send his tanks to the border, and that armored vehicles would not be the end, and that everyone should understand this. Since sending troops to pro-Western Ukraine last February, Putin has repeatedly threatened to use nuclear weapons against the West if the conflict escalates. Which brings us to the editor-in-chief of a popular TV show, Russia Today. Margarita Simeon stated that World War III would be likely, and from there even a nuclear strike. Her panelists even chimed in stating that we would all die and they would go to heaven. Let's take a look.
Ну, потому что, зная нас, зная нашего руководителя Путина Владимира Владимировича, вот самое невероятное, что в конце концов все это закончится ядерным ударом, мне представляется все же более вероятным, чем вот такое развитие событий. К ужасу моему, с одной стороны, с другой стороны, к пониманию, что, ну что, значит так. Знаешь, меня...
Но мы-то в рай.
Да. Меня...
Они просто сдохнут.
You will croak, and all Russians will go to heaven. And now, more prophecy in your headlines. Luke 21:11 states that there will be devastating earthquakes in diverse places. And that takes us to our next story, where incredible drone footage shows entire fields that are covered in debris and a deep chasm that lies between them. Meanwhile, rescuers continue to scour flattened neighborhoods, searching the rubble for survivors, days after the disaster, where the death toll has reached over 40,000, and it is expected to surpass 56,000, according to the United Nations Emergency Relief Chief Martin Griffith. Let's take a look.
24,000 plus is the death toll at the moment. From what you're saying, that's going to go up significantly higher.
Yes, there are many sort of rumors, aren't there, about where it may end up. And of course, Syria has its count too. And I think it's really difficult to estimate, obviously very precisely, because you need to get under the rubble. But I'm sure it'll double or more. And that's terrifying. Those are numbers which, people like you and me, we deal a lot with conflict around the world. We deal with the Syrian conflict this last decade. But to lose 20, 30, 40,000 people in a night, we don't see that even in those conflicts. So this is nature striking back in a really harsh way.
Talk to me about...
Mr. Griffith, it's not nature striking back in a really harsh way. It's the one who does all things. Psalms 18:7 states, "The earth shook and trembled. The foundations also of the hills were moved and shaken, because he was wroth." And Matthew 24 tells us that these are the signs of his coming and the end of the world. It also tells us that many will come in his name claiming to be the Christ, and they will deceive many. And that takes us to our next headline, where this deceiver, Pope Francis, joins forces with top Anglican Presbyterian leaders to denounce anti-gay laws. Aboard the papal plane, Pope Francis was backed by the ceremonial head of the Anglican Communion and the top Presbyterian ministers in calling for gays to be welcomed by their churches, as he again decried laws that criminalize homosexuality as unjust. The three Christian leaders spoke on LGBTQ rights during an unprecedented joint airborne news conference Sunday. They were asked about Francis's recent comments to the Associated Press, in which he declared that laws that criminalize gay people were unjust, and that being homosexual is not a crime. And now, a prophecy headline for you, Mr. Francis. Not only is homosexuality a sin and a crime, according to the Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13, it's also an abomination. That'll do it all for now. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Until next time, shalom, shalom, until Shiloh come. Peace.